Hey, good morning. It's Uncle Lou here. Yeah, that's right. It's me, Uncle Lou, live for you on LouTube today. And thanks for watching. I really appreciate it also. And two, I'm back today with another college football team preview for the 2018 season. Before I get started, though, on today's video, I want to give a special thank you to everybody who has signed up on the Patreon page over the last couple of months. All of the college football team previews that I have done so far came as suggestions from members over on the Patreon page. I let them all pick 2 teams, and I've gone through and done all those teams first. I still have a few to go, and then a few of my own that I'll wrap up the previews with towards the end of this week. Of course, starting next week, we'll have the regular during the season videos like I always do. I'll go into more detail on that in another video. But thanks for all the positive feedback too on the Miami video yesterday. It took me a long time to do that. A lot of work went into that, and a lot of editing and post-production work went into that too. So I really appreciate the comments on that video. The Miami video was a request from Nicholas G, Sam S, Jeremy P, and Alan V. So hope you guys enjoyed it. What I want to do though, I'm going to run through the name of all the everyone who has joined the Patreon page over the last couple of months. I have tried to shout you guys out every time I did a preview video that you requested, but I know I missed a couple, and of course my alarm clock's going off for no reason. Anyway, so again, thanks to everybody. This is in no particular order. This just happens to be the order they come up on when I go to the page to write them all down. So Jeff R, Nicholas G, D Stone, Zeth T, Jamie W, Garrett S, Mark D, Wade P, Herschel B, Parker C, Kyle T, Ryan, Kyle W, Cody M, Edward K, Philip H, Matthew Q, Cody R, Stacy R, Robert T, Alan V, Jeremy P, Brandon S, Alex H, Steve, Brian E, Sam S, Robert and Brittany G, and Ben M. Thank y'all so much for joining up over on the Patreon page. I can't tell you how much it means to me that you guys support the channel. I really appreciate it. If you guys aren't members over on the Patreon page and you want to get joined up, just click the first link in the description of this video. It'll take you over there. I have to cut off the preview suggestions now, though, because if not, I just won't be able to get to them before the season starts, and there's no point in previewing teams after the season starts, so I've got to cut off the preview suggestions. I still have a few to finish up. NC State up today, as you can already tell by the title. That comes as a request from Brian E. I still have Matthew Q wants to see UMass and Georgia Tech, so that'll be coming up. Kyle W wants to see Washington State and UCF. That will be coming up. Wade P, I did one of his already. He wants FAU, so that'll be coming up. What else? Brandon S wants Hawaii and Kennesaw State. Thank you, Brandon. That'll be coming up. Steve wants Iowa and Iowa State. And I believe that's all the... Oh, Nicholas G wanted a preview of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Of course, I'm not really an NFL guy, but I will get around before the... I may wait until the... That'll probably be the last one I do, Nicholas, because the NFL season starts a week after college football season, so I'm going to make sure I get all of these done before college football starts in a couple of weeks. I have a whole nother week before the NFL starts. I will get that one done for you, though. I promise. So those will be the previews that come out next. Once I finish up with those... then, of course, I have a list of others that I want to do, teams I've wanted to do that no one requested that I haven't got to do yet. I'll do the last 2 or 3 teams that I haven't done yet in the SEC, and I've got some other of the big-name schools from around the country that I want to do. We'll get that wrapped up in time to start the season next week. There are a few games coming up this weekend, but nothing major, no Power 5 games. I'll probably talk a little bit about that later in the week. Anyway, subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Thumbs up if you're ready for start of college football season, and let's get right to today's preview, the NC State Wolfpack. Here we go, the 2018 NC State, North Carolina State Wolfpack out of the ACC, right? How did they do in 2017? Well, they went 9-4 overall, 6-2 in the SEC, right? So 8-4 during the season. They won a bowl game against Arizona State, I think it was, and I'll mention a little bit more about that game when I get to this year's team preview. But so a pretty good season. Coach Dave Dern getting a little bit of interest from some other schools too last offseason. Chose State, NC State. We'll see if he can continue this this trend at NC State. I think they finished ranked last year in the top 25. And if I'm not mistaken, that's only the second or third time NC State has finished a season ranked in the top 25 in like the last 20 or 30 years. So you could look at it and say, 9-4, why is that so special? Well, at NC State, that's a pretty good year for them. Not knocking NC State, that's a pretty good year for them. They're not normally a top 25 team. Finished in the top 25 last year at 9-4, so hats off to NC State last year. Now, what are they going to look like this year? What did they lose from last year? What do they have coming back? What are they looking to do offensively and defensively? Well, on the offense, of course, they've got Ryan Finley. Is that his name? Yeah, Ryan Finley. He's got a 6-year senior, right? Probably could have went in the NFL last year. Wouldn't have been a high draft pick, but would have got drafted for sure. Chose to come back for his senior year to try to improve his draft stock. He's a big, tall guy. He's 6'4", I think he is. 6'4", 210. Perfect size for the NFL, right? And he's got some wide receivers to work with at NC State, too. NC State probably has the best quarterback-wide receiver combination in the ACC. Yes, there are teams in the ACC with better throwing quarterbacks. Yes, there are teams in the ACC with a couple of better wide receivers, but the combination, now if Clemson can get their quarterback situation figured out, if Trevor Lawrence is ready to go, you might can put Clemson ahead of NC State because Clemson's got some elite wide receivers. I'm not a fan of Kelly Bryant throwing the ball. No, I'm getting off track. The point is NC State's got good quarterback play and good receiver play. We know about Finley. 3,500 yards last year, completed 65% of his passes, 17 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. Wide receiver, you got Harmon coming back. This guy's 6'3", not a burner, but 6'3" and can jump. Catches a lot of 50-50 balls. Sort of a go-to receiver type guy there for Finley. Had 1,000 yards last year. And you also got Myers. He's more of a quick hitter, like a home run type guy. He's really elusive. He used to be a quarterback, so he's real comfortable with the ball in his hands, really elusive, very athletic. He had almost 800 yards last year. So both of them coming back combined with Finley, going to be deadly through the air. Running backs, nothing exciting. You got this guy, Gillespie, probably pronouncing that wrong, Gillespie, whatever it is. You got him coming back, right? About 500 yards last year. Now, you've had a 1,000-yard rusher each of the last 2 seasons. Not this guy, though. He was your backup last year. Still played a lot, though, getting to 500 yards. But you've had a 1,000-yard rusher for the last 2 years. I'm not sure this guy can get 1,000 yards. Not sure. I mean, maybe he'll be the guy this year. Maybe he gets there, but I don't think so. Again, though, you're going to be so great through the air this year. I'm not sure this is going to hurt you not having a 1,000-yard rusher. He'll get 700, 800, 900 would be my guess. You got this other guy, I can't remember his name now, but he's a 4-star recruit. He's a home run hitter type of back, right? Quick, fast, shifty, that kind of thing. His name complete, it starts with a P. Is it Person, whatever? If there's any NC State fans, you'll know who I'm talking about. I expect him to play some this year, and he'll be pretty exciting, too, with the ball in his hands. On your defense, now, of course, last year you had Bradley Chubb. He's gone. First-round pick to the NFL. Elite player. One of the best defensive players in all of college football last year. He's gone along with 7 other starters. So you lose 8 starters off of that defense. Not really a recipe for success going forward. Your defense last year, terrible against the pass. Really good against the run. You were 100 and something against the pass, and I think you were around 25th or something like that against the run. 25th, 26th, somewhere in there. Bowl game, I told you I'd talk a little bit more about that. Bradley Chubb sat out the bowl game. How'd that work out for you against Arizona State? Well, you gave the ball to Finley and told him to put it in the air and light the scoreboard up, and that's exactly what he did. You hung 52 points on Arizona State in a bowl game win without Bradley Chubb. That's the kind of game I think North Carolina State is going to want to play this year. They're going to look to score a lot of points. I don't think you're going to be able to rely on this defense to keep very many teams under 20 points. I think you're going to have to win a lot of games by scoring 30, 40 points. We'll look at the schedule and see how much of a chance you might have to do that. All right, you know how this works. I'll throw the schedule up on the screen. We'll run through it real quick. I'm going to give you certain games that are guaranteed wins, certain games that are guaranteed losses, and certain games that I think are toss-ups and could go either way. If I say a game is a guaranteed win, to me what that means is you should beat them no matter what. No matter you have a couple of injuries, you should still beat them. Doesn't matter where it's played, you should still beat them. Doesn't matter who the coaches are, you should still beat them. Game of guaranteed loss, exact opposite. I just don't think there's any way possible you're winning that game if I list it as a loss. Toss-up games, in my opinion, could technically go either way depending on how the season unfolds. Now, when I get to the end, I will go back through the toss-up games and pick a winner and a loser for every single game, and so we'll be able to come up with what an overall end of the season record might look like for NC State. A couple of notes about the schedule here. 5 of your first 6 games are at home. This is important. I think you can get off to a hot start here, potentially. You don't have to play Miami, also out of the ACC, which most people consider to be the second, maybe the third best team in the ACC. But you do have to play at Clemson. So anyway, well, here's what I'm going to do. You got several games here, I think, that you're going to win no matter what. I'm just going to plop those up right now. So these are your guaranteed wins. James Madison, you'll beat them without a problem. Georgia State, you'll beat them without a problem. At Marshall, it's a road game, but still, Marshall not a very good program right now. You'll win that game. Virginia, at home, win. And then your last 2, at Louisville and at UNC. Louisville was an 8, 9, 10 win, 8 or 9 win team. 8 or 9 win team with Lamar Jackson. I don't see them being that good without him. I think you'll win, even though it's at Louisville and at UNC. All kinds of trouble going on at UNC. I did a preview video on them a couple of days ago, but terrible last year. Won only 1 game in the ACC. Now they got a bunch of suspensions going into the year with people selling shoes. Not going good there. Guaranteed win. So 1, 2, 6 wins. So no matter what, in my opinion, you're making a bowl game this year. Even if things go completely sideways, you should win those 6 games without a problem. All right, now let's go to, we'll run through the schedule here now. West Virginia, toss-up, okay? You get them at home, but West Virginia, like you, going to want to air the ball out. Will Grier is going to be an elite passer this year. They've got NFL wide receivers on that team, but they struggle on defense. This could be a very high-scoring game here. I list that as a toss-up. At home against Boston College. Boston College is a good team. Every time I do a preview when someone's playing Boston College, I say the same thing. Boy, people just don't give Boston College no respect, do they? You forget they even have a team unless you have to play them. If you ask the average fan what they think about Boston College, they're going to say they're not very good. But then you go and you look Boston College up, and guess what? They're pretty good. So this is a toss-up game. I think that'll be a close one. Bye week. At Clemson, loss. I'm sorry. Listen. I know that's kind of a rivalry game for you or whatever. Clemson just on another level right now than you are. Okay, they just are. They returned what would have been first or second round NFL picks along their defensive line, but those guys somehow decided to come back. Their defense is going to be unreal. You have to play them there. You're just not winning that game. That's the only guaranteed loss I see on this schedule, though. Okay? Right after that game, you turn around, you got to go to Syracuse. Of course, pulled the huge upset over Clemson last year. When Clemson played them there, you got to go there this year. It's right after the Clemson game. You could be beat up. I have that as a toss-up. FSU, I listed as a toss-up. FSU, new coach, Willie Taggart, new offensive scheme. They've got a whole lot of talent. Didn't pan out on the field last year. Serious offensive line issues at Florida State. I have that as a toss-up game. Wake Forest, also a toss-up. Wake Forest and Boston College are a lot alike. You ask the average college football fan what they think about those 2 teams. Those, but it turns out both of those teams are better than what most people think they are. I have that as a toss-up. All right, I'm going to go back through them and pick winners and losers now. West Virginia, I think you get the win. I think you start out on a roll this year, okay? James Madison, Georgia State, 2-0. I think you win West Virginia, 3-0. It'll be a high-scoring game. This game really could go either way. West Virginia plays Tennessee week 1. If West Virginia comes out and beats Tennessee by 40 points or something, maybe I changed my mind about this game, but right now, you have them at home. I'm going to give you the edge here and give you a win. I think that's being fair, too. So 3-0. At Marshall, 4-0. Home against Virginia, 5-0. Home against Boston College, I think you take your first loss there. You start out 5-0. I don't think you're deep enough. I mean, you've got some talent. I don't think you're deep or consistent enough to just win a huge string of games past 4 or 5 here. And I just got you taking the loss against Boston College. But still, you're sitting at 5-1 heading into your bye week, so in a good position. Come out of your bye week at Clemson, loss. On the road at Syracuse, I'm going to give you the win. But this is going to be a tricky game, and I know it's Syracuse, but I just think it's going to be tricky, but I gave you the win. You then come back home, play Florida State. I just think they're too talented. I think they beat you this year. It could be a good game. If Florida State's offense is taking longer to come around than what I think it might, then potentially you find a way to win this game. You do have them at home, but right now I've got this penciled in as a loss for you. I think you beat Wake Forest, so you end on a 3-game win streak, beating Wake Forest and then winning on the road at Louisville and UNC. So that puts you at 9-3. Is that right? Yeah. 9-3 for the season. So what did we say you did last year? 8-4 in the regular season last year, 9-3 this year. So potential to win 10 games depending on your bowl matchup. I'll be honest, I'm kind of surprised I was able to get to 9 wins on that schedule. I've said this a couple of times in a couple of the previews that I've done here. I would not put my money on NC State winning 9 games. I would probably put my money on NC State winning 8 games. However, going through the schedule, it's hard for me to pinpoint a 4th loss right now. So I have to go with what I came up with here, and that's 9-3. So the official Uncle Lou prediction for NC State 2018 is 9-3. Game or 2 short of winning the division, but still a pretty good season for NC State. And if they can win their bowl game, another top 25 season, which would be great for NC State and Dave Duran. Anyway, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Live show today at 3 p.m. Eastern. We'll be taking your phone calls to argue with me and tell me about all the ways that I'm wrong. It's a good time. You guys should check it out if you hadn't already. And I'll be back tomorrow with another preview. Have a good morning.